right. I'm gonna spam my Discord, and then we're gonna get going. Here we are. All right. Happy Pro. What up, dude? How you doing, buddy? There we are. All right. I'm missing coffee. What's up, Glad Cleric? We got a wrench in the house. Wow, we got 2 questions right off the bat, man. Oh, that is cool. That is a good sign. That's a good sign for a Q&A stream. Oh, let me get a little bit of coffee here. And then we're gonna rock and roll. Happy Pro, you ask, how do I get my players to listen? What do you mean by that? Can you expand upon that? Give me more information about what you're asking, because I don't know exactly what you mean they won't listen. It's very generic. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the live stream. Hanging out for a couple hours here. I'll just be hanging out, answering questions. We'll probably talk about a few interesting things tonight. You gonna come up here? Come on, the stream has begun and you are 5 minutes late. Yeah, we'll talk about, I saw an announcement about the D&D 2024 SRD. I was literally just like a few minutes ago, I was watching a video and so I was like, wow, they made an announcement about that. So we'll look at that. I have not read it, so we'll just kind of look at that and see what it says. I'm told that there's not a ton of interesting stuff in there, but we'll be the judge of that as we look through it. Oh my gosh, I don't have my candle lit. Okay, so these are my favorite candles in the world, Firelight Fables candles. I just ran out of one of my candles, and this is my new one. I have Shipwreck Isle going. It's already half spent. I was burning it most of the morning today before I had to leave. Anyway, I gotta get this set. I gotta get this lit up. I forgot to light it. Almost always when I'm working, or sometimes even when I'm playing a game or something, even if it's on my computer here all by myself, I have one of these candles going because they are stinking amazing. These are, first of all, these are scented candles. These are fantasy themed scented candles, and they're premium too. They're not cheap pieces of crap. So Firelight Fables candles, I have it going now. There's a link down in the description. One of my moderators can probably put Nightbot did a little link to it as well. But these guys right here, this is coconut apricot wax with real wooden wicks. Scented, it's scented, it smells amazing. So I always have one of these burning back behind me when I'm running my games too. Because I have lots of cats and a dog, and I'm sure that there are bad pet odors that I don't know about because I'm here all day long and the house smells like normal to me. So anyway, I burn one of these in the hopes that my players can't tell that I have so many animals, even though they see them and know them. But anyway, go check these out. They're super cool. If you use the code, the DM Lair, you get 10% off as well. These are my favorite candles. Premium, high quality crap right there. All right, not some cheap soy wax candles you get at like Walmart or whatever. All right, so, all right, we got the candle going. We got the candle going. We do have a giveaway going on tonight. So link in the chat somewhere. You can join the giveaway. We're going to give a $50 DM Lair store credit, just like we always do. In every single live stream we do, we're going to give you credit. The winner will get credit to our store. You can go buy something really cool. We have like 5th edition resources. We have some Pathfinder 2 stuff over there. We have just tons of cool crap over there for Game Masters. So join the giveaway. It's free. And we talked about the giveaway. I think that's all my little announcement thingies, and we can do the questions now. Happy Pro, did you post a follow-up? I don't see anything from you. I asked you you said, how do I get my players to listen? And I need more information about what that means. Matthew M says, I'm running DOTMM. I have no idea what that is. You're gonna have to spell that out. Any tips or tricks I should know or think about while running it? Well, I mean, I think the fact that I don't know what it stands for is probably a good sign that I don't have any tips or tricks for you. It's a module. I have probably not run the module nor read it because I don't run very many modules. I mostly homebrew my own content. I have played I have run Curse of Strahd, and I have what was that? I played through about a third of the Princes of the Apocalypse. Yeah, that's what it's called. Princes of the Apocalypse. I ran about a third of that module. But other modules, I ran a little bit of Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Oh, I did run through the one that comes before Dungeon of the Mad Mage. What's that one called? I forget. Oh wait, I just got it. DOTMM, Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I figured it out. Look at that. Oh, I'm so good. I'm so good. It only took me 5 minutes of talking to myself before I figured out what you were talking about. So so Dungeon of the Mad Mage is awesome. What I like about Dungeon of the Mad Mage is you think it's just one big dungeon crawl, and it's not. I think it gets a really bad rap, and some idiots who probably, I don't know, some idiots probably like talk about it and like make videos and stupid crap where they're like, it's just a big dungeon crawl. It's not. Every level that I was reading and ran had different factions on those levels that the players can interact with. They can make deals with them and stuff. They don't have to it's not a dungeon crawl in the sense that you're just going down there and just killing and slaughtering everything. Now, is it a dungeon crawl in the sense that there are like, I think there are over 20 levels to it, I think. So, and you just keep going deeper. So is it a dungeon crawl in the sense that it's a big dungeon and you keep going deeper? Yes. But it's not a dungeon crawl in the sense that it's a mindless, dumb dungeon where we're just going to run through the thing and kill everything we find. There's tons of social interaction, and there's a bunch of cool crap going on in that dungeon. What I ran and what I read, I haven't read the whole book, and I only ran like 1.5 levels of it before that group. Well, I think we transitioned on to something else, actually. It didn't fall apart. But, so I can't really, you can only really speak, in my opinion, when running. This is something that always annoys the crap out of me when people review modules. If you're going to review a module, you need to have run the module or at least played in it. But if you just read the module book and then give a review, that's not very helpful. Like, there are some things you can speak to from just having read it, you know, but you kind of got to run the thing and really dig into it and really see how it works and how your group reacts to it and what things work and what don't. And then what things did you have to change, et cetera, et cetera. Like, until you've actually run it, you can't really do an adequate review of a module. You got to run the stupid thing. So that's one of the things that annoys me about review videos, where it's clear that people didn't actually run the module because they're making a video like before the module is released because they get advanced copies from Wizards. So they're like, oh, we got the advanced copy. Now we're going to do a review video on it. And it's like, you can't review the thing unless you played it and ran the thing. But I guess you can do a flip through and give us your like reaction to it. I mean, I think that's fair, but you can't do a review until you play the thing. So where am I going? That was like a side rant. Dungeons of the Mad Mage. I think my biggest gripe with Dungeons of the Mad Mage, I think there's lots of amazing stuff about it, and I love it. The problem with Dungeons of the Mad Mage is that the adventuring group kind of has no reason to go into the dungeon. They don't have a reason to go into it. Now, the module kind of gives you some cursory stuff at the very beginning, but it's very unsatisfactory. And not only is it unsatisfactory, but they'll tell you like, oh yeah, you can pick like, I think you can pick whoever like the quest giver or somebody. They will like, you know, tell them, oh oh yeah, I need you to go get X thing or like do X thing, right? And that thing is on level 12. So we got to go through level 1, 2, 3, and I know you can count, right? All the way to 12 before we actually encounter that thing. Now think about this. Think about this 1 second. Use your brain, right? Just let it churn a little bit. How many of your players are actually going to go, if the NPC quest giver says, I need you to find the Medusa named Harry and like, you know, beat him up and take his lunch money. I don't know. How many of your players are gonna get through level 1 and be like, well, we didn't find the Medusa. Go to level 2. They spend like a few months on level 2 because each of these levels is pretty big. They're like, it probably wouldn't take 3 months. It might, depends how fast you go. They're like level 2, no Medusa. Level 3, no Medusa. And they just keep going down. How many of your players are just gonna, if they don't find a Medusa, just keep going down to the next level? No, this is crazy. My players on level 1 would be like, we were told to find a Medusa. We must have missed something. Let's scour the entire level. Get out the 10-foot pole, poke the walls, poke the floor, poke the ceiling, look every 5-foot square, search. Everyone's searching, right? And then casting guidance, getting advantage, all that stupid horse crap that they do, right? So like, yeah, so anyway, that's just an example. And it's a bit annoying because like, if your adventuring group doesn't have a reason to go down and go through this mega dungeon, you know, that could be a problem. So my biggest tip and suggestion to you is that you need to find a good reason for them to go down in there. Something that will motivate them to delve through this whole dungeon. That's my biggest first tip, okay? And what I did is if you go to the module that came before Dungeons & Mad Mage, something like Waterdeep heist or heist. It was something about a heist that wasn't actually a heist. They called it heist, but it wasn't a heist. You know what I'm talking about. Everybody was criticizing that. So, and hey, why not? That book right there are like 4 or 5 different NPCs. Like there's House Bregendareth, there's the Xanathar criminal organization, and there were like 2 or 3 others that I can't think of off the top of my head. But what you could do is take one of those NPCs and make them a patron. Have them be a patron that's financing or kind of like, they're kind of like the NPC quest giver, but they're a patron of the group. And they're the ones that are like financing their expedition down into the dungeon. And they're giving them reasons to go down there. And the reason this kind of works is that I mentioned different factions on the different levels of the Dungeons & Mad Mage. Well, that patron, let's say it's House Bregendareth, okay? Jarlaxle, he's the face of that house. So that house right there, they could have them. There's like different factions and stuff down there. Well, Bregendareth might have interests in different levels of that dungeon, things they want done, factions they want wiping out, and different things. And you can make that up as you go. Like level 1, just have Bregendareth, and level 1. What does Bregendareth want the group to do at level 1? What's the objective? And then find something. And then they communicate it, group goes down, they do the thing, they come back, hey, success. And Brigadier is like, all right, good job. Now, level 2, here's what's up. And so if you did something like that, I think that could make it a whole lot better. And that's very like regimented, like each level has some objective. You might want to shake it up a little bit and have some like other objectives like, hey, we don't know where this person is, but there's this Medusa down there. And we need you to take his lunch money. We're not sure where he is. He could be on any of the levels, but keep your eyes open. So you might want to shake it up and not have it just be like one objective per level. You might have multiple things in play, which would make it more interesting. So that's one thing you could do. That's what I was planning on doing, except we only got through like 1.5 levels. So I didn't get to implement it fully, but that was kind of the idea I had. The other tip I had for Dungeons & Mad Mage is if you don't think your players are gonna want to just go down dungeon level after dungeon level after dungeon level, you don't have to run Dungeons & Mad Mage as a big massive dungeon. You could literally take each of the levels, rip it out, and have it be somewhere else in the game world, right? So like Bregendareth or whoever the NPC quest giver is like, oh, over here there's this, I need you to go do it. Well, that's level 1 of Dungeons & Mad Mage. They complete the objective, they come back, yay, we did it. And they're like, good job. Now over here, there's this other thing that needs to get done, right? And then that's level 2. And so you're literally just pulling out the levels of Dungeons and Mad Mage and placing them in different parts of your world, and then the players can do the traditional, like, go from A to B to C across the world, the different dungeon locations, but each dungeon is just a level of Dungeons and Mad Mage. So that's another thing you could do, that I think that if you think your group doesn't want to do a big massive dungeon crawl and that might be boring for whatever reason, then you can do that, and that'll feel a lot more like a traditional, normal, maybe D&D game instead of just like a big massive dungeon, right? So there's a couple ideas for you for Dungeons and Mad Mage. The Sasquatch, hello, thank you for the $3 super chat, dude. I appreciate that. He got a thumbs up, a little thumbs up with a red nail. So the person giving the thumbs up has really red painted nails. Oh, that's nice. Princess Canuta, hello, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Sympathetic Ghost, what up, dude? Matthew M, hello. I think, wait. Yeah, Dragon Heist, that's the name of the heist book. Oh, hello. I got two cats with me now. They both are vying for the position of co-streamer. Like, Squeaky is traditionally the streamer, but I think Squirty Pie is trying to edge in on his territory, right? I think Squirty Pie knows that Squeaky is getting old, and that he's actually, so Squeaky has been co-streamer for quite some time now, and his salary is getting kind of high. Like, you know, every year he gets like a 3.5% raise and all this kind of stuff. And so his salary is getting kind of bloated, and he's about as good as a co-streamer as he was 5 years ago. And so I think Squirty Pie is trying to edge in on his territory, you know, like, hey, I'm fresh out of college. I get paid less. I can do the same job type of deal. I think that's what's going on here. And now he's like, yep, I retire. I'm going to retire. I'll take the buyout. Goodbye. There goes Squeaky. Time to let him go now. I mean, isn't that what Wizards of the Coast is doing right now? You think they're just retiring? That is a very appropriate segue into that topic, isn't it? So a lot of dungeon tubers have been doing videos about, like, Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins retiring, right? And then I think there were who was it? Chris Ko or something retired. Who's the guy who did the apology tour? You know, the face of the apology after the OGL, who was like, we're sorry. That guy, like, quit or whatever from Wizards of the Coast. So, like, lots of people, like bigger, you know, named people or whatever are, yeah, lots of conspiracy theories. Lots of bigger people are, like, retiring and getting out of there. And it's interesting because it's like, there's part of me that it really seems like Wizards of the Coast is kind of falling to pieces. And I guess what I mean by that is not necessarily, I can't speak to the Magic side of things, and that's really the larger part of things as far as, like, revenue goes. But, like, the D&D side of things kind of seems like it's falling apart. You know, you had the Sigil VTT collapse, and that was like, man, they were counting on that for money, you know? Like, that was going to be the future of D&D, just reaping in the microtransactions, money and subs, and getting people on there and selling them skins and whatever they were going to do. However they were going to monetize that. That was, like, their future of monetization. I know D&D Beyond and stuff, they're also monetizing that, making some money there, you know? But they really wanted some sigil cash too, and that all vaporized, you know? And then they fired, like, 90% of the staff, and they got life support going on with that right now. Their sales are probably down. Like, there's been a lot of folks saying that their book sales are probably not that great, and I believe it. You know, I don't know what portion of people are actually, like, getting the new books and what. This is interesting. So I did a poll for my patrons where I was like, hey, do you guys want me to make a video about, like, the new D&D 5th edition books? I have never gotten a lower rating for a video idea before. Nobody wanted me to make a video about the new D&D books. Nobody. It was like, there were 4 video ideas, and I'm like, this one, new D&D books. And, like, 5% of people wanted me to make a video about the new D&D books. I'm like, okay, I guess they don't care about that video. I should probably just forget about that one. It was bonkers. So I imagine, like, Professor Dungeon Master, Dungeon Craft Dude is saying that he thinks sales are down. I'm pretty sure you had some other folks doing some live streams or something. They were speculating that sales are probably down because it's not like, I think they were saying they're not on like the bestseller lists or the Amazon bestsellers or something, and they were comparing like the D&D 2014 book with the D&D 2024 book, and they're not even on the list of like bestsellers and stuff, and so they're speculating and saying, you know, sales are probably down. And there goes my doggy off to attack the burglar. And so probably sales are probably down, you know, Sigil blew up, sales probably down, I would guess. You know, I would imagine you have like layoffs looming too. Like imagine one of the things you were counting on for finances, like revenue, right? Sigil evaporates and like layoffs have to be looming. You know, you probably got some summer layoffs, probably some more Merry Christmas layoffs, you know? And so then when you have like Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford retiring, it's like, man, that can't all be coincidence, right? Like, yeah, their official spin, right? It sounds like is, hey, they just wrapped up the new edition, which isn't a new edition, and so it's a good time for that. They you know, that's the cap on their feather. They got the new thing and they're moving on, and that's like the official corporate spin. You know, corporate always has a spin when people leave, and you got to wonder, like, really, is that really why they're leaving? Like, if you see the company you're working at, the revenue stream is just evaporating and the bottom line is just like falling out. And you know, think about this, you know that you have a big salary. You've been working there for 30 years, however long it's been, and you're like the lead developer or whatever title they had, you know, your salary is very big. And when companies are in trouble, like this is just the way it works. When you are in financial trouble, you look to eliminate people with big salaries and you think, hey, do I really need them or not? Could somebody else do their job? Because if I can get rid of $200,000 a year and pay somebody $40,000 or whatever it is to do that job, even if I even need the job, let's get rid of them. Because in a lot of corporations, there's like middle management fluff and bloat that happens. There's a lot of middle managers that kind of don't do anything. The company was doing well. There were promotions going around. They got a promotion. People were put under them, you know, office space style. And, you know, but what they really do, they go to meetings and they talk a lot, right? They go to a lot of meetings, you know, but the people getting most of the work done are on the front lines. They're writing stuff. They're doing the actual, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like middle management bloat's a real thing. So you got to wonder at what point, you know, if the company's not doing well and they know they have really big salaries, like, did they get a buyout offer, right? Did they get an offer that said, hey, you know, we'll give you this sweet little something if you retire, you know, because that'll save the company a lot in the long term. And then they can promote somebody, you know, like a developer 2 up to like senior developer or whatever, and then start doing the work. So you got to wonder at some point if that wasn't what they were thinking. Like, dude, if I stick around, this company's not doing well. And if I stick around, there's a good chance I'm gonna, and that's not good. So like, I can go out on my own terms or I can go out on their terms. And if they gave them a nice buyout offer, well, those are nice terms to go out on. And then we can spin it and say that we retired after having accomplished all these things. And then everybody looks good. Company looks good. Employees look good. Everybody's happy, you know? So at some point you wonder if that's what's going on, right? Because it doesn't look super great as far as like the D&D side of things for Wizards of the Coast. That side of the company seems to not be doing well. It seems to be in kind of like shambles and just kind of spiraling down. And there's a part of you that wonders, you know, hey, is this what happens when you ignore your customers? You know, is this what happens when you literally you disparage an entire segment of your customer base and just say, screw you, we don't care about you, we're catering to these people now, you know, and then you just kind of shift things in that favor. And so you got to wonder at one point if that's just what happens when you ignore us. And there's obviously other things like I think the OGL scandal is really where everything began. That was the beginning of the downward spiral for them. I think they really screwed them. They shot themselves. It was like a neck wound, you know, that took a few years to like squirt out or something, or like maybe you should call it a stomach wound. I think those take longer to die from. But they really shot themselves with that, and I think they've just been bleeding out. It seems like they keep making mistake after dumb mistake. So I feel like when I worked at a factory once, and we had a plant manager who was a monster. He was a monster, and the morale was horrible. And you were either getting another job or you were getting fired. And this is the way it worked. The people who were good at their jobs, they were getting other jobs. And the people who weren't that good, they couldn't get jobs, so they just kind of they stayed there until they got fired, you know? So that was my experience, at least. I can't project that upon anybody else's company, but I'm just saying my experience, if you could get out, you got out while the getting was good, because the writing was on the wall. Either your head's gonna get chopped or like you or you leave, you know? So I don't know, it's just completely speculating at this point, but I definitely think things aren't going well. And there's always there's part of me that wonders, you know, why they actually left. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. There's some stuff to leave angry comments about or speculate about, I suppose. Oh, let's see. We should probably see what chat's saying. They stayed through 4th edition. That's a good point. They still had hope. Yeah. D&D never brought in too much money for Wizards of the Coast. That was always Magic. Yes, that's correct. Yep. Trying to make everyone happy makes no one happy. Yes. Making something vanilla is the worst possible thing you can do. It's horrible. Things that are vanilla ultimately suck. When you try to like not when you go too far down the route of, you know, being so unremarkable that you can assure that nobody's offended and that, you know, nobody's gonna be angry at you and nobody's gonna go crazy on Twitter or Blue Sky or wherever they happen to be. You know, if you're that vanilla and that unremarkable, well, then you're unremarkable. And probably nobody is going to become a super fan of something that is that vanilla and that unremarkable, right? This is the theory that people get promoted to the top of their incompetence. Well, you know, the interesting thing is, I've heard it said, and it makes a little bit of sense, that especially there are some companies where they don't like firing people. They really don't like firing people. So if you're bad at your job, they don't fire you. What they do is they promote you to management. Because let's pretend you're in software development. Okay, you're a software developer. And let's pretend you suck. Like, it's spaghetti code. And all of your other software developers are like, this guy sucks. I have to go. We do our unit reviews, we do our code reviews, and I'm just like writing a page of code review on this guy, and everything's got to get fixed. And we do our deployments, and things aren't working, and we're like having to pull it back, and it's like, it's a mess. It's a mess, right? And this guy's horrible, you know? And you're like talking to people, you're like, guys, he sucks, man. And the company's like, you know, but we don't like to fire people, you know? We don't like to fire him. But they're like, yeah, but he can't do anything. We got to fix everything. We go behind him and clean up his messes. And they're like, well, you know, what if we promote him? We could make him your manager. And they're like, so wait, we wouldn't have to fix his messes? Well, no, I mean, you'd have to go to one-on-one meetings with him, and he'd sit in meetings with directors and stuff like that. But he would mostly be too busy sitting in meetings, talking about pointless stuff to really bother you a whole lot. Really? Yeah, you'd have like a one-on-one with him like once a week, maybe. That's all. That sounds pretty good. Can you promote him? Yeah, we're gonna get that. Okay, there you go. Boom. You have a manager, right? He's no longer screwing the code base up. All the developers are mostly happy, except for they have like a one-on-one with somebody they know is an inferior developer to them. But you got rid of the problem in a way, you know. And so that's the theory of promoting incompetence, you know, because you don't want them screwing crap up. But if they're in middle management, not doing a whole lot of useful stuff, well, hey, you know, that's not bad. That's not a bad place to be. They can't screw anything up. That's the theory, at least, you know. It's not like that in all companies. I'm sure that there are some companies that are a lot flatter and then don't have this middle management bloat. But the company I came from had lots of middle management bloat. They could have gutted 80% of the people there and still got all the work done easily. But it was a financial services company selling annuities, so they were making bank. There was lots of money to go around, so I don't think they really cared. But anyway, there's a lot of people that didn't do anything. Zen says, promotion, here I come. If you want to get promoted, just be incompetent at what you do. Actually, but at some companies, you'll get fired for that. Not all companies are going to do that, you know? Magnus Agma says, and here goes the new middle senior assistant vice manager of operations and subdivision department. There you go, man. Absolutely. Copper, you're very welcome, dude. I'm happy you were able to take advantage of that discount sale and get your set, all your books squared away, dude. Promote the yes men. Oh, at the company I worked at, it was totally a situation of promoting the yes men. That's actually no. It wasn't the yes men. I mean, if you spoke out against the standard quo, you would get in trouble. But what the people that got promoted at the company I was at were the date hitters. If you could hit the date, then you would get promoted. Like projects, for instance. Like all projects, most projects at companies have dates you got to get them done by, right? This was a financial services company, but I worked in the IT department, and so they had certain dates that you're supposed to have your software development project done by, right? And so if you hit your date, like if you were able to hit dates, right, then you would get promoted. You get promoted, you become managers by hitting dates. Well, the interest, and then of course our code base got progressively worse and worse, because the interesting thing about hitting dates is that, okay, so you have there's a three triangle concept. You have scope, that's what's included in what you're doing, and then you have quality, that's how good you do it. And then you have how long it takes you to get it done. And those form a triangle, right? You know, the scope, the date, the time you have, and then the quality. And if you know anything about triangles, if you increase the one leg of a triangle, at least one of the other legs has to get smaller. So that means that if you want to decrease the amount of time it takes you to get something done, you have to compromise on either scope, the quantity of what you're getting done, or you have to compromise on the quality. Well, the scope is never going to get compromised on, because the stakeholders, the product owners are going to be like, no, we have to have that, we have to have that, we have to have that, we have to get that done. It must get done, and they're like, well, we have to hit this date. What do you think gets compromised on? Quality. Almost every single time. Now, in really good shops, it doesn't work that way, but in the one I was in, quality got compromised almost every time. So these date hitters, a lot of times the code base had problems in it, right? Because the most important thing was to hit the date and get all the stuff done that they wanted, and if quality suffered, well, maybe nobody would find out for a while, Oh, you like this shirt? This is a great shirt. Schedules and conflicts. Schedules and conflicts. So I got this from a guy over on Twitter. His first name is Todd. His last name, I think, starts with a P. I'm drawing a blank on it right now. If I looked him up, I could find him. And here's the cool thing. If Harmony Ginger knows too. Harmony Ginger knows who he is if you message her. But this shirt right here, he was selling on Etsy, I believe. He was literally selling this shirt, and guess what he got? Guess what he got from Wizards of the Coast? Somebody give me a wild guess as to what he received. A wonderful letter that he received from Wizards of the Coast because he dared sell this shirt on Etsy. A DMCA? No. A ban? Nope. A cease and desist? Absolutely. They were like, dude, you can't sell that anymore. That infringes on our I'm pretty sure they were going after the ampersand, because this ampersand is similar but not identical to the D&D ampersand. Actually, let's look at the D&D ampersand really quick. D&D, what do you call it? D&D logo. Yeah, it's totally different. Like you can here. Let's go over here. You can see that this is what the D&D logo looks like, or the ampersand looks like. It's quite obviously a dragon. Quite obviously a dragon. So like, if you look at the one on my shirt, there is a passing similarity because it's like, breathing fire type of thing, but there's no dragon head or anything else. So it was definitely that. I'm sure that they were probably like, it was the likeness. It was bears a certain resemblance to their ampersand, and so there's a legal term for what that is. Yeah, it's a trademark case, but there's a specific legal term, I think, that they call it when you have something that bears a striking resemblance to somebody else's thing. It's like it has a look and feel that theirs has. I forget the term, but that can be a problem. So yeah, they told him to take it down, and he took it down because what would you do? Wizards of the Coast has millions of dollars and like probably staff lawyers. Are you really how much money are you gonna want to spend to sell this shirt? You're gonna spend thousands, tens of thousands of dollars if they take you to court on a court case. You're not making this much on a t-shirt. T-shirts don't sell that well, guys, I can tell you. They don't sell that well usually. So yeah, he can't sell anymore. But I was talking to him on Twitter, and I sent him some messages, and I was like, dude, I want one of those shirts, and he's like, I'll send you one. So he sent me this shirt, and I'm totally planning on making a video about scheduling issues or something at some point in the future, and I'm gonna wear this shirt in that video. Yeah. So anyway, it's a cool shirt. You can't get it though. And it's hilarious too, schedules and conflicts, because scheduling is the #1 killer of D&D games. So it's really cool. All right, let me see if I can find some more questions here. If you ask the question, please feel free to re-ask it, because I missed it, I'm sure. Chad Kroll says Shadowdark, DC20, Daggerheart, Free League Publishing games are all going to challenge D&D. Oh yeah, I mean the competition's already getting fierce, and then MCDM's what is it called? I can never remember the name of their system, their game system. It just never sticks in my head. It's kind of a forgettable name, unfortunately, because you want like a name that sticks in your head, but I always forget. Draw Steel, thank you. There we go. It's not a super memorable name in my opinion, but maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm old. I am old. Believe it or not, I'm 40. How old am I? 44. I am 44. Yeah. So I'm getting old. I have a slow brain. But yeah, I think you have a lot of them. DC20 did really well. Shadowdark is doing super well. Daggerheart obviously is going to kill it. Free League Publishing is doing some amazing crap. Check this out. Oh, I'm super excited about this. I'm going to share with you a Kickstarter that I just backed. I backed it a couple weeks ago. It's an Alien Kickstarter. Where was this? Alien RPG. I think that's the one. Free League is doing it. I'm going to give them some free press right now. Oh, it's already closed. You actually can't back it anymore. I'll show it to you though. They might have pre-orders at some time, but this looked really cool. I backed this. I'm not logged in, so you can't see it, but I backed this. It looked really cool. It's an Alien RPG. I love the Alien franchise. So I probably did like one of these big bundles, because I'm a sucker for like getting all the cool stuff. So, but it looked really sweet. It looked really sweet. So I backed this. If they get like, and I like sci-fi a lot too. But I've never played in a sci-fi game. So if they have pre-orders and stuff, you can check this out. I thought it looked really cool. So I backed it, but it looks like they already closed. Once I back a project, I never pay attention to it until I start, well, sometimes I pay attention to it, but usually I ignore it. Unless I get an email that's like, we need your address to ship you stuff. Ooh, I should probably read that email. Brado says, I have the previous edition. It's a good system. Cool. I like to hear that. Because I want a sci-fi game. So when is this going to be delivered though? Let's see if it says. Shipping, add-ons, stretch goals. When is this thing going to deliver? It doesn't. It's not easy. Oh, yeah, it does. September 2025. Okay, it's already made. They already have it made. All they have to do is do the print run, it sounds like, and then ship it. So that's beautiful. Yeah, I'll look forward to that. Oh, I've played Cyberpunk. I have played Cyberpunk, but Cyberpunk isn't like... I don't consider Cyberpunk very sci-fi, because Cyberpunk takes place, at least the ones I've played in, take place on Earth. Like it's a dystopian future Earth, but it's still Earth. When I think, and you might consider that sci-fi, and that's fair. When I think about sci-fi, I'm thinking about we're in space. You know, I'm thinking like Star Wars and Star Trek. I'm thinking we're in space sci-fi. So when I think sci-fi, I think space. And so for me, Cyberpunk, I know it's like advanced technology and all this kind of crap, but like you're still on Earth. So to me, that's not the flavor of sci-fi I think that most appeals to me. And honestly, I don't like Cyberpunk stuff a whole lot, like the whole Mad Max type of thing, you know, with people with like spikes and chains, you know, and flaming cars. Like that never appealed to me. That just seemed, I mean, coming from a guy who plays like fantasy games with swords and sorcery and magic and wizards, the whole Mad Max thing seemed really silly to me, you know, which may be a stupid statement considering the things I do like, but there you go. I've never played Warhammer 40K either. I've heard a lot about it. People talk about it, but I never played that. Han the Moors said, I just ran my first campaign last night and my mom won't let me buy a new campaign book. Can you convince her for me? Okay, Han the Mars. I'm gonna do the convincing for you. Mark this point in the live stream, okay? It is about 45 minutes since we began the live stream. Okay. Han's mom, listen, Han's mom, if you buy your son, I'm assuming you're his son, her son or whatever. If you buy your son a campaign book, it's going to cost you about $50, maybe $60. And that's probably enough content to keep him occupied and out of your hair and playing with his friends for like 2 years, maybe. You cannot buy that sort of peace of mind any cheaper. Like you're like, well, it's just a book. Yes, it's a book that will keep on giving, and he'll be able to play and play and play for like 2 years worth of content in this book. And he's not going to be bugging you because he's going to be developing campaigns and running games for his friends. He's going to want to go out of the house, play games with his friends, right? And then he won't be bothering you, and you and the husband can do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very good investment. Get your son a book. In fact, if you get something off the dmlayer.com, I think we actually have like a 15, or we have a 10% off or a 15% off thing going on right now. And you can get one of our modules off from there or something and like save a little bit of money too, and support an independent content creator also, and not like Wizards of the Coast, you know, who actually they probably do need money right now, but don't be like that. So there you go. It could be 20. You're right, Annabelle. It could be 20 years. One campaign book might give 20 years. Like, that's totally true because I have a campaign box set over on my shelf over there. I have the second edition Forgotten Realms campaign box set over on my shelf in my bookcase. And that is literally the campaign setting that I ran since the time I was in high school until 2022 or so. So like 1996 to 2022. That's like what, 25 years? That's about 25 years. For 25 years, I was using the same campaign setting, the same box set, the same books for 25 years. That's how long. I think it probably, well, I bought that back, you know, when it was much cheaper, but it probably cost about $40 or something. You know, it was probably still expensive back then, but I got that thing, you know, and for 25 years I'm using it. You know, that you cannot, like, look at your son being involved in tabletop role playing is one of the cheapest hobbies he could possibly be in. Now, sure, there's the whole miniature thing, all right? But if you ignore the miniatures and the painting of miniatures, that's like the rabbit hole of money. But if you ignore that, this is a very inexpensive hobby. There's far worse. He could be addicted to gambling, you know? It could be way worse. So yeah, buy your son some good crap. Sleazy plug. Yes, they come naturally for me. Yes. Oh, by the way, we have a giveaway going on. Ladies and gentlemen, join the giveaway because we're giving away $50 DM Lair store credit. This candle right here, we also, these candles are like, they're the official sponsor of the DM Lair. They're just candles. I love these guys. She does send me free candles, so I guess they are kind of my sponsor. They don't pay me, they just send me free candles. And I don't think they pay me. I've never been paid yet, but I get lots of free candles. The name of these candles is Firelight Fables Candles. And there's a link in the chat. There's a link down in the description where you can grab these. These are premium fantasy scented candles. I usually have these burning like every morning as I work. I have one going right now. A lot of times when I'm playing games, even online, I'll have one of these burning. They're made from coconut apricot wax, which is premium wax. It's not that soy wax that's really cheap and nasty, right? And it has wooden wicks. So these things are amazing. They smell super good. And they flicker and crap too, which is really cool. And they got these big, huge ones, but you can also get smaller sizes as well. But again, they're premium candles. So like, they're not cheap pieces of crap. So like when you go on there, you're gonna have to pay a little bit of money for them, but they're really good candles. And then if you use the discount code, the DM Lair, you get 10% off as well. Save you a little bit of money. Oh, there we go. Kirikon says, I'm burning a Firelight Fables candle right now. Yay! Awesome. Thomas says, as a dungeon master, how can I save time while writing a story? I want to write more, but I don't have as much time as I would like. Well, the first thing is, as a dungeon master, you don't want to write a story, right? You want to create a scenario. You want to create a situation. If you get into the mindset of writing a story, you don't want to write a story. Dungeon masters don't write stories. Dungeon masters create scenarios. We create situations, and then how the players interact with that situation, that is what determines the story that results. So, but you don't want to write a story. And if you're in the mentality and the mindset of writing a story, you can go to bad places, right? That will lead to unenjoyable games. So I wouldn't think about yourself as writing a story. I would think about creating a scenario, creating a situation. So I think if you pick up a module, let me show you something. So if you pick up a module, like this is Layers and Legends 2. This is our most recent adventure module. This is being fulfilled right now to some of our backers. So it's not quite on the store yet, but it will be on our store probably within 2 weeks, maybe. As soon as we get to every single one of our backers, then it'll go on our store. But in this adventure module, what you'll notice on any of our adventures, if you open up to one of our adventures, there are like rooms, right? There are locations, and then there's read aloud text, and then there's different stuff that's in every single room. And if you go through the adventure, every single room has information about what's in that room, It's like that throughout the entire book, This is just full of adventures, tons and tons of adventures. So, and really cool artwork too. So, you don't need to do this. If you do this, it will take you lots of time. Let's pretend you have 10 rooms in your dungeon. And I say dungeon, but it can really be any location where the adventure takes place. But if you have 10 rooms there, if for every room you write read aloud text, and then you decide what's in the room, you decide if there's any enemies in the room, you design a trap maybe, or a puzzle, and then you place loot in the room, treasure for them to get. And if for every single room you do that, right, and you really work through every single one, that is gonna take you a lot of time. That's gonna take you a lot of time. Now, I do that a lot because I'm very super thorough, and sometimes I just like to do that, but I don't always do that. Sometimes what can be far more efficient for you is to get a map and then don't key things to specific rooms. Simply say, for this adventure, I'm using this map. Over here, I'm going to list the different encounters that are in the adventure. Let's say there are 10 rooms, so maybe 5 encounters. That feels about right, okay? And then I'm gonna have 2 traps in this dungeon. So I'm gonna design what those traps are. Over here, I'm not deciding where they are in the dungeon. These are the traps that are going to be there. Okay, now a loot list. Here is a list of the different items of loot that people can get in this dungeon. Okay, there we go. We have the encounters, we have some traps, we have the loot. Oh, maybe a puzzle. Maybe I'll write a puzzle out, okay? And then for most of those items, you have your map. You're not going to key those things to a map. You're just going to have those lists. And then what you can do is as they go into that dungeon, and now what you do want to do for those dungeons is you want to decide what the purpose of the room is. Each room should have a purpose. Is this the kitchen? Is this the barracks? Is this the bathroom? Is this the chapel? Et cetera, et cetera. Because if you know what the purpose of the room is, then you should be able to, at some level, improvise a description of what's in that room. Because you really want to, as much as possible, in this methodology of minimum preparation, you want to improvise your narrative description of what's in the room. You don't want to read aloud text. That'll take you forever. You want to just improvise your description of what's in that room. And then from your list of encounters, traps, and loot, you just pick something, right? Oh, in this first room, I'm going to have this encounter here. Those are the guards, all right? And then if they defeat the guards, if they fight them, here's some loot. I'm just going to pull some loot off my loot list. Oh, this is what you find on the guards. They go into the next room. That's the chapel. Let's say you describe the chapel and stuff. Well, there's not an encounter in that room. Let's just put a trap in there. There's an altar at the front of the chapel. Well, if they screw around with that altar, well, this trap is on that altar. Okay, cool. So you basically you get these lists and then you organically place these items in the dungeon as your players explore. And what this does for you, it minimizes your prep time, first of all. But the second thing is that it allows you to kind of organically create this dungeon as they go. And so you can place things in the rooms as it seems appropriate for the game, for the scenario, and the players really can't skip anything important, because if there's something important on your list, well, you just put it in one of the rooms. As they open the door, you decide that important thing is going to go over here, so this is a way that you can minimize your prep time and just kind of flow like that. Now, this isn't my personal cup of tea. I tend not to do it this way. I tend to key everything to the rooms. A lot of times I read aloud text. Not always though, because I'm very good at improvising description, but I still tend to be super thorough, and I will read aloud text anyway, even though it's not getting published. It's just something of my personal stuff. But that'll help minimize your prep time. But just remember, you're not writing stories. You're creating scenarios and situations for your players. Oh, MC Tasman says, are there any plans to release the Fae campaigns in a single book, akin to Tyranny of Dragons? No, I don't think we would do that. Here's why I wouldn't do it. We already sell Into the Fae as a standalone book, right? So there are lots of our fans that have already bought that book. And so if we publish Escape from the Fae, and it also includes Into the Fae, then there's a lot of people who are going to be like, well, I already bought Into the Fae. Why do I have to buy it again? You know what I mean? And I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that are like, I kind of don't want that. I would rather just have the one book. I think the second thing you're going to run into is that Into the Fae is, it's almost 300 pages long. I think it's 200 and some pages long. Almost. I think it's 250 or something. I don't know. Escape from the Fae is much bigger. So I think that's probably going to be around 300 and some. So at that point, we have 350, 400. You have a 600 page book. If we put the two of them together, I think we come close to a 600 page book. That is a big book to publish. That is a heavy, beefy boy, right? You're going to start to run into problems like this book right here, Lairs and Legends, is 300 and almost 400 pages long. This is almost 400 pages long. And this is thick. This is a thick, beefy boy. If we added 200 more pages onto it, that is a big book. I might be wrong, but it's possible, and I could be totally wrong because I don't know everything about books and publishing, but you might start to run into problems with the spine. with a book that big and that thick, it's possible you run into problems with your spine. I don't know though. I'm just kind of spitballing because you got a really big book. You might have to do a different type of binding than we normally do. We do the thread bound binding in groups of 16, which is like the gold standard for quality binding. But when your book gets really big, there might be different things you got to consider so that it doesn't just break when you open it or something. So I'm not sure though. But I can think of a few reasons just off the top of my head why that probably wouldn't be an idea that we would pursue. And also I think that if you're going to, the other thing too is if you're going to take Into the Fae and you're going to republish it inside Escape from the Fae, well then a lot of people would have the expectation that you're going to revisit Into the Fae and make improvements and changes and stuff. And that's a lot of work to do that, right? And so it's like at some point you can't just do everything. You can't put everything into the scope of a project because the amount of work just bloats, you know what I mean? And you have to ask yourself, how much value would I be getting out of doing a thing? You know, does it add to the bottom line value of the project? Or is it kind of something that most people won't find a whole lot of value in, but adds a lot of work? And if that's the case, then you probably don't want to do it. So I don't know. There are a few things off the top of my head that probably wouldn't want to do that for. Hey, Han the Mars says she's letting me buy the Into the Fae campaign. Oh, cool. All right, so let me show you something. Let me see what's going on here. Into the Fae. Okay. Oh. Okay, Han the Mars. Send me an email, and I'll give you 10% off it. Okay, I'll send you a code where you can get 10% off. We have a code up here for 15% off, but it's not Into the Fae. It includes the DM Lair Ultimate Collection. But if you email me, I'll give you a 10% off discount code. It's info@thedmlair.com, and I'll hook you up, dude. There you go. See, now you got 10% off. Your mom's a smart woman, so I'm giving her 10% off. And you'll like Into the Fae too. It's cool. I wrote it, so like I have to say that it's cool, you know. More Fae. Yeah, our next project is probably it's gonna be Escape from the Fae. We're starting to work on details for it right now. So Into the Fae takes you from levels 1 to 5. Escape from the Fae will take you from levels 5 to 11, I think. Public Fanatic, thank you so much, dude. I appreciate that. MC Tasman says the DM Lair sleazy plugs are the gold standard. I know, dude. I'm super sleazy, man. O'Neill says, what advice can you give to a DM who is burned out on the campaign? Oh gosh. When I'm burned out on something, a lot of times I talk to my players. If I were burned out on my current campaign, I would talk to my players, I would tell them that I'm burned out, and then I would probably ask them, I would probably want to see if one of them would want to run like some one-shots or something so that I could take a break and not have to. So like, I think part of it is going to be a question of why you're burned out, because I think people get burned out for different reasons. Many times when I get burned out running a game or a campaign, it has nothing to do with the game itself. It has to do with how busy I am in real life, like with my business and stuff. Like if I'm super busy and lots of stuff is going on, then it's going to be really hard for me to find time to do the preparation I want to do for my games. And I'm going to feel a little bit frustrated, and I'll feel like I haven't prepared enough, and I'll feel like the quality of the game is suffering. And that just kind of like sits here, and it makes me feel burnt out because I'm like, trying to get a whole bunch done, prepare for the game, and I know it's not as good as it should be, and then I feel bad about it. I'm just like, oh, this sucks, and then that leads to the feeling of burnout. So, but usually in my life, usually what happens is I'm just busy with everything else, and that leads to some burnout, from time to time. And so I feel like if that happened, I would probably, well, I'm in the unique situation where I can literally just look at my schedule and cut things out if I want. I run my business and I'm like my own, I work it's me, right? So like, me and Zach, and then our freelancers, but like, I'm the boss. So like, if I just want to like blow off work for a day, I can kind of do that. If there are things that I'm doing that I don't want to do anymore, and I think that I'm not getting a very good return on the time I'm investing in it, I just don't do it anymore. I'm like, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I can, but I'm in a somewhat of a unique situation in that regard. Not everybody can obviously just cut out activities they don't want to do, but obviously if you cut out like TV watching and stuff, you get back a couple hours a day or something. So like, I feel like if you were burnt out because of that, talk to your players. Maybe one of them can run like a one shot or something for a few, because then if you don't have to prepare, if all you have to do is just show up and play, people don't understand. Like, some players who have never been game masters have no idea. They have no concept of the amount of preparation it takes for a game master before a game. Most game masters, not everybody prepares the same amount, right? But many game masters spend, if I'm running the game for 4 hours, I might spend 4 hours preparing for that game session. Maybe, not always, but it's a possibility. It depends on what's going on. It depends on if there's still an adventure or something that we left off on or not. I might have to make a new adventure, So I feel like just not having to prepare for a game is huge and gets you a lot of time back. And then if you're hosting at your house, that takes a lot of time too. That could take you an hour or 2 hours of just the hosting responsibilities, So by the time you're the dungeon master and you're hosting the game at your house, shoot, dude, that's an all-day event, man. That's practically an all-day commitment. Now, you might split it between a couple different days because you prep on one day and then you run the game on the other, but it's pretty much, that's a whole day's worth of activity, So like, not having to run the game is huge for just getting some time back. And that might help you relax and just kind of chill a little bit, feel more comfortable, and then that burnout will kind of subside. And then as you rest and you get away from running the game, a lot of times, what I've found at least, is that you get this hankering to run the game again. Like, I took a break from DMing when we were transitioning from D&D 5th edition to Pathfinder 2. I took a break from DMing as I was getting my Pathfinder 2 campaign ready, and I had 3 or 4 of my players were running one shots for us down here. They were running the game. There were 4 of them. I think there were 4 of them that did it. And so I had a break. I had about 2 or 3 months. 2, 3, 4 months. It was a good break. It was a good break from running the game. And I gotta tell you, man, that felt good. It was relaxing, and then I was ready to go. I was excited to go for the next campaign. So sometimes all you need is a break. Sometimes all you need is a break. So I think that's always a good place to start. Now, I don't think I would just cancel the game sessions. I think I would see if some of your players would run as a game master, or maybe you guys just play some board games or something, which are super fun. That's what I would probably suggest doing for burnout. I don't know. I'm sure that other people have made blog posts and videos about it and crap like that, but for me, it's usually just taking a break and not having to run the game for a while. Then I feel better. Did you ever consider asking third-party team to work on translations of your books? We need more love abroad. We've had some people reach out to us offering to do translations, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like, we have a very small team. There's one of us and then one other person, and we have a lot that we're doing. We're very busy. We have all these projects and stuff, and we have work that we got to get done. So when we think about, anytime we're thinking about doing an activity, we have to weigh the time investment that it would take from us, how much revenue we think that it would create for the business, and the opportunity cost, right? Because if we're spending time doing something, that means we're spending time on that thing and not this thing over here. So when we look at translations, like I had somebody reach out for a translation, and it was like translating it to, it might have been French, I don't know. I think it wasn't. I think it was Portuguese, actually. I think it was Portuguese. And they reached out about this, and the first thing that came to my mind was, well, how do I know your translation is any good? I don't speak Portuguese, So I have this company that's soliciting me to work with a translation thing, and they'll do all the work, and stuff. And I just I would probably make like a commission or a royalty or something. I don't know how it would work, but like, how do I know it's any good? I have no idea. I have no way I could review your work to make sure it's any good, and that was one of the things came to my mind. And the other thing is like, well, man, then we're going to be spending time working with them and doing all these things. And like, how many of these books are we really going to sell in Portuguese? And let's pretend we're getting a 5% royalty, how many books are they going to have to sell for us to make any money back on our time that we're going to spend doing this? So it's like, that's the type of thing you think about. It's like, this is not going to be worth our time, is it? Nah, it can't be worth our time. It can't be worth our time, Even if they're doing most of the work, I don't know. And then you have contracts and stuff. So then we're going to have to get a contract, make sure we have a contract in place for the translation and all this kind of stuff, which then I'd have to send to my lawyers. And my lawyers, God bless them, they charge about $400 an hour. They literally do. And so if I have my lawyer review a contract, I'm paying him about $1,000 or more, maybe, I don't know, to review a contract. Maybe more than $1,000. So then I'm paying $1,000 or something to review a contract. And it's like, the more you think about this and you really consider, like, it really starts to be like, man, that's really complicated. That's going to take a lot of time, And you start to think, my brain hurts because I already have a lot of work. You know what I mean? So but licensing it out and getting the royalties and have it being in their hands is the exact sort of thing that we've been approached with. And I've always just thought like, oh, it's still gonna take my time. It's still gonna take my time. It doesn't matter. Anytime somebody else is like, yeah, we're gonna do all the work, still takes a lot of my time. I have a fulfillment company who does a lot of work for fulfilling all of our products and sales and stuff. But guess what? I still end up spending a lot of time chasing stuff down, So, yeah. Anyway, that's stuff we've thought about, but it's never gone anywhere. You gotta get over here. I'm sorry. I know that's not the answer you wanted. It was Portuguese? Okay, cool. Yeah, I thought it was Portuguese. Joseph Smith says, first time DMing more than one shot. Session 0 next week. Session 1 2 weeks later. I'm nervous the players won't hang around to finish my story, even though they seem excited right now. Yeah, I mean, that's always the risk, right? If they're not in, like, how long does it take you to play the game? It's like a 4-hour game session. It's got to be fun, or people probably aren't going to come back. Right. So yeah, you're right to feel a little nervous because there's a chance they're not going to come. Some of them won't come back or they won't enjoy it or something, but I don't know. What are you going to do? Like, you're just going to like chicken out. You're going to wuss out and not do it. You got to suck it up, man. You got to suck it up and go do it, and they might have fun. They might not, but what are you going to do? All you can do is do the best you can and then see what happens. It's the same thing for everything else in life, but don't be a wuss. Just like suck it up, cowboy up, and go do the thing, and you're gonna learn a lot. And it's your first stinking time. So yeah, you're probably not gonna be good. Reconcile your brain with the fact that you're probably not gonna be that good. Who's good at something the first time they do it? Not a whole lot of people. Not a lot of people might think they're good at it, but they probably aren't, So like, yeah, you're probably gonna suck, dude. It's okay. Just relax, accept it. Just reconcile your brain to that, But guess what? There's a good chance your players have never played before and they won't know that you suck. and it's all good. They're probably going to enjoy themselves because they have, this is the beautiful thing. Like when there's no, when there are no expectations, when there's no standard to be held to, you know, like if they've never played in a D&D game before, you know, then yours is the first one they played in. They got nothing to compare you to, you know, theoretically. They can probably compare it to like D&D shows online, which would be an erroneous comparison because those shows are meant to entertain viewers, not entertain players. There's a huge difference between a D&D show and an actual D&D game. Although there are some people that drink the Kool-Aid who will say otherwise. But yeah, nervous. That's life. You suck it up, get over it. You do it anyway. Your players are probably gonna have fun. You're probably gonna be fine, you know. But you do the thing, you know, and you'll get better at it as you do it. So don't worry too much about it, man. Like half of your screw ups are going to be because you're worried about screwing up. If you just calm down and relax, you're going to probably do a lot better at it. Oh, super chat. Hey, super chat. Zagart, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I ordered The Secret Art of Game Mastery and all your cool books hardcover after learning about the Kickstarter, and just want to say thanks for already getting it to me. Hey, you're very welcome, dude. Very, very welcome. So it sounds like you ordered a bunch of stuff, cool crap, and it's already arrived. Excellent. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you for buying some crap and supporting us. The Kickstarter crashing and burning sucked, you know. But that's life. Sometimes, like, you take a risk. I was just telling the dude not to be nervous, to cowboy up and do the thing, and sometimes you suck and you fail. And so we did a Kickstarter, and it was very apparent after the first day and going into day 2, we're like, this project's dead, and this is DOA, dead on arrival. Like, it's dead. This is a crash and burn scenario, man. So yeah, sometimes you strike out, baby. But you know, the interesting, this is like a famous quote, and I know it's a famous quote. I'm pretty sure it is, but I don't know who said it. But the whole idea of this quote, and I'm butchering it, is it's not so much whether you fail or succeed at something, but when you do fail and you fall down and you screwed up and you failed, what do you do? How do you pick yourself back up again? Like, what do you do next? You know, like how you react to that and what you do afterwards in your path forward, that's what defines you more so than your failure, you know, because you're going to fail at things in life. But the real question is what do you do after you fail, you know, and how do you respond to that? And how do you press forward? Do you go cry in a corner and like go get your little violin out? You know what I mean? Or you're like, yep, we screwed that up. Okay, what are we doing now? And then you try again, you know, and you press forward. So. And I think that's that's a healthier way to approach things, much more optimistic, obviously, but it's much healthier. You're much more likely to be successful with certain mental models, certain mentalities than others. You know, if you cry in defeat and, you know, and retreat into a shell, then, well, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going to fail. You're imploding yourself upon yourself, you know? You miss all the shots you don't take. Yes, that is very true. Thank you for joining the Discord, dude. Break out the rum and come back next week ready to rock and roll on the new stuff. Yep, that's what we did. Like, Zach and I, we had a meeting. What was it on? I think we had a meeting Friday. Didn't we have, was it Thursday or Friday? We had a meeting on either Thursday or Friday. And after we'd already pulled the plug, you know, and it was all over. And we had a meeting and we talked about a couple things, but one of the things we talked about was, all right, this Saturday, and Sunday, let's get the heck out of here. No work. We're gonna, you know, because we were like, you don't want to, we were kind of talking a little bit about what we're going to do next, but I'm like, no, our emotions are all messed up right now. We need to know, you don't make big decisions when your emotions are all riled, right? And so I was like, we need to calm down, get away, take a long weekend, you know, and just relax and unplug. I was going to Chaosium Con to get away from things. So it's like, we need to relax and unplug and like do no work and then come back on Monday ready to kick butt, you know? So we took like a long weekend. I think I still worked on Sunday. I'm pretty sure I probably worked a little bit on some of those days. I almost never unplug. Except for, there are a few instances when I unplug completely. When I'm at the craps table, I'm totally unplugged, but that's the exception. It was Thursday? Okay, yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, we have a giveaway going on. There should be a link in the chat somewhere where you can sign up for the giveaway. We're going to be giving away $50 DM Lair store credit to the lucky winner. We are going to draw the winner at the end of this stream, and this stream is ending in about 45 minutes or so. So go join the giveaway. Also, there's a link down in the chat and in the description where you can go check out Firelight Fables candles. These are my favorite scented candles. They're fantasy themed scented candles. I'm gonna burn my nose doing that. It's made from coconut apricot wax, which is premium wax. It's not that cheap, crappy soy wax that most candles have. And it has real wooden wicks. If you use the discount code, the DM Lair, you get 10% off these bad boys. Again, these are not cheap candles. These are not cheapo, crapo candles. These are premium candles. But they are amazing. They burn really well. They burn for a long time too. And they got wooden wicks, so they flicker and all that kind of cool stuff. So they're very, very nice. I have one of these things burning like almost every morning when I'm working. And then during my games, I have one going live stream right now. You know, a lot of times, even when I'm running games online, I'll have one of these candles going just because it smells good. And they send me, they send me free candles. So it's like, I have a lot of candles. So it's like, I got to burn these things too, you know, but they're very nice. So go check those things out. Nightbot is just spamming the candle link. Oh no, Nightbot dropped one and then a moderator dropped it too. So we had two in a row. I was like, Nightbot, what are you doing? Han the Mars, I'll send you an email, dude. If you sign up for the giveaway and you win, I'll send you an email. So you're good to go. You don't have to be here. It's all good, man. We'll get you taken care of. What is your opinion on a campaign involving short lapse time travel? Zelda Majora's Mask. I never played that Zelda. The last Zelda I played was Link to the Past. I tried playing one of the Zeldas after that and did not like it. They like Link to the Past was like a top-down Zelda, and I loved it. It was amazing. And then the next Zelda that I tried to play, I think it might have been the one right after it, I did not like it because they transitioned to like, it was like the camera was right behind Zelda and you were like right behind him looking over his shoulder, and I did not like that. It was poopy. It just did not appeal to me. I wanted the top-down, you know, bird's eye view of the map. That was like, I want the old school Zelda. So I did not like any of the Zeldas after that. I never even tried any of them. I'm like, oh, this stupid over-the-shoulder camera bullcrap. I played Link to the Past so much. Oh, that was so much fun. It's like the best Zelda ever. Even though that's the only one I've ever played, but it was amazing. It was so good. Yeah, the top-down was so good. Those old school games are just sweet. Napalm flavored candles, those are great. Oh wait, I had a what was it? Okay, opinion on a campaign involving short lapse time travel. Acquiring magic items creates alternate realities in the world, short repeating cycles, etc. Is it too much? I mean, it's all how you implement it. The devil's in the details, you know. Conceptually, it sounds interesting, but how are you implementing that, you know? And is it going to be fun for your players? I don't know the answer to either of those questions, you know? So like conceptually, it sounds interesting. How are you implementing it? So, and I have no idea what that looks like. You know, it's your idea. But you know, you can try anything. I wouldn't don't base your whole campaign around an idea that you don't know is going to work maybe. But just have it happen off to the side and just see what happens and how it works and if your players like it. And then if it turns out to be something that goes really well at the game table, well, then incorporate a little bit more of that, you know, keep doing more of that with other things, you know? So I would do kind of like a trial run first. And then, you know, based upon the trial run, you might find out your implementation was a little off and you want to tweak it here and there so that when you do it the next time, it's a little bit better, you know, learn from it, learn from the first time and get it better the second time. So, but almost anything is worth trying. There's probably some stuff where it's like, no, you really shouldn't try that. That's a bad idea, you know. So, but almost everything is fine to try and see if your players like it or not. Remember, you're gonna have lots of at bats, you know, and sometimes you're gonna hit the ball, and sometimes you're gonna strike out. Sometimes you're gonna hit the ball, but it's gonna go foul. Well, then try to learn from that and hit the ball in, you know, not foul. Hit it in bounds this next time, you know. And that's the game master. That's what you do as a game master. You can't hit the ball a home run every time. You know, as a game master, you're creating adventures, you're creating NPCs, you're creating traps, puzzles, you're creating all these different things. And guess what? A lot of them are gonna not work. They're gonna be whiffs. You're gonna strike out. Some of them are gonna be really good and your players are gonna love them. Other things are gonna kind of be like, meh, you know, whatever. That's just life. That's the way it goes, you know? Sometimes you strike out, sometimes you hit a home run. Most of the time you're kind of nicking it off foul or something and you're learning from it and you're getting better at it, you know? And that's just the way it goes. And you can't expect everything to be good. You know, you just got to try stuff and then stick with the stuff that works and then the things that are mediocre, try to make them better, you know? And so it gets better and better as you go. That's just what you do as a game master. I need to fill my coffee up. It's empty. You can see it's warm. You can see the steam. Look at that steam. Don't you worry about having candles on the table during a campaign since there's loads of paper? You see that's the table we play at. Right there, you see that's a window shelf. That's a shelf in front of my window. I put the candle right there. That is where I put the candle. Not here, because that's a curtain and that burns, but right there. The candle goes right there. Here on the table, yes, lots of papers. That would probably be a problem. But right here is where I put the candle. But yeah, you're right. You got to pick a good place to put it. Otherwise, you could have problems. I saw a question, now I can't find it. Charles says, after finishing our first campaign, I am writing our next campaign from scratch, including homebrewing factions with stat bonuses and magic system. Your DM advice videos have been great. Thank you. You are very welcome, dude. I am happy to help. Happy to help. Han the Mars says, this is my new favorite channel of all time. Yeah, dude, like I convinced your mom to get you a book. Like, that's cool, right? I got that one. If you asked a question and I missed it, please feel free to repost it and I'll try to, I'll grab it if I can. Our group runs 8 10-hour sessions once a month. And, okay, let me read that again. 8 10-hour sessions. Whoa. Oh, 8 to 10 hour sessions once a month. I was like, hold on, every single month you run 8 10-hour sessions? Holy crap. That's bonkers. And that's not what you're saying though. Okay, so every month you have a game session that lasts about 8 or 10 hours. Okay, that's a long session. I used to do that. We had tons of fun. I don't do that anymore. And because we always do multi-year campaigns, I've been leveling them slow. Any thoughts on level up progression? I use Milestone and it's been roughly 1 every 2 months. Oh no! Woo! I mean, okay, so you do what makes the most sense for your campaign. Let me say that. I would not level them that slowly. That's super slow. With an 8 to 10 hour game session, I feel like it could. This is what Luke would do, right? This is what Luke would do. This is how I would do it. I feel like if they were to level up every game session, that's a bit too much. Even though it's an 8 or 10 hour game session, that feels like a lot. You're leveling up every single time you play. That's a too much. But when you're running for 8 to 10 hours, I feel like you should probably level them up every other game session. So I think every other game session, I would have them level up. Oh, but that's what you're saying, isn't it? It's been one every 2 months because you play once a month. So you don't level up on this month and you level up here. The next month you don't level up, and then the next month you level up here. Yeah, if that's what you do, that would probably feel about right. That would probably feel about right. Yeah. Something like that. There's a little bit of like, finagling as you plan out your adventures, because like sometimes some adventures that are milestone based happen faster than others, and so you can't always control how long it takes. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it's faster. But I think that pacing actually seems about right to me. I had to reread your question and realize that you were saying the same thing I was saying. Yeah, I see that. I'm slow. All right? I'm 44 years old. This right here doesn't work as fast as it did when I was like 25. All right. Do you just ask a question, or is there anything to add before it? I mean, if you put like question in all caps and then put your question, that gets my attention a lot easier. Otherwise, you can just throw them. You can just throw them in there and I'll try to find them. That's what I'm mostly trying to do here. Jack McCarthy says, Mr. Lair, I have to say I hold your recent actions in the highest esteem. Well, thank you very much. What did I do though? I do lots of things. So what is the action that I recently did that you hold in high esteem? There's a couple things that occur to me, but I'm not sure which one you're referring to, or you might be referring to something else. Hey, doggy, come here. Come here. Come here, doggy. Come on. Doggy. Doggy. Say hi to everybody in the stream. You gotta go outside, don't you? You gotta go outside, don't you? Don't you try to lick me in the face. I think she's gotta go outside. She's gotta go outside. Poor doggy. Who's my doggy? Who's my doggy? Who's my doggy? Yeah. Porcito, ¿le puedes llevar al perro fuera? Go to your mom. Go to your mom. All right, ask my wife to take the dog out. Oh, she was acting like she's got to go. And it's been a while, so I'm sure she does. That's like the best dog in the world. She's like the happiest little energy bucket. She barks at everything, which is what dogs are supposed to do. She's relatively small, so she's easy to manage. Doesn't eat tons of food. She's friendly and happy. Just like the best little doggy in the world. I love that little doggy. She's only like three or so years old, so I'll have her for a long time. I'll be like an old man with a stick, a walking cane thingy, before I lose that dog. It'll be nice. The Sasquatch says, I must be real slow at 51. Oh, you're fine. I'm sure you're fine. Jack says, how and when did you start in D&D? I started with the Holmes box set in 79 or so. I started with 2nd edition in about 1996, I think. 1995, 1996 or so. That's the best I can recall of when I actually started playing. Those are the numbers I usually tell people. It's my best estimate. That's when I started playing. I saw a question from somebody. My group is my wife and her siblings, plus her sister's boyfriend. Very fortunate that they like playing typically 7-hour game sessions every Saturday. That's cool. Though we all have a tendency to get distracted. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's 7 hours. Yeah, you're gonna get distracted. Yeah. Where was the question? I thought I saw a question. Oh, question. I want to run my players through a maze, but I want to keep it simple. At what point should I give them a map of it? And how would you turn it into a group skill challenge instead of a map crawl? You see, this is the thing. I don't know how you run a maze in D&D. I don't really have any good advice for you on running a maze in D&D. It's possible that if you do a Google search for how to run a maze in D&D, somebody's made a blog post that explains how to do that. But I conceptually have a really hard time trying to imagine a way to run a maze in a D&D game that isn't lame. And this is what I mean. Like, obviously, if you give them a top-down view of a maze, it's all over because now they know how to get out of it, right? If you run it as a skill challenge to go through a maze, now all you've really done is you're not really running a maze. You might say, hey guys, you're in a maze. Now roll some dice to see how you get out of it. Okay. But does that feel like you're running through a maze? No. It just feels like there's a challenge and you're rolling some dice to see how you do. But it doesn't emulate or make them feel like they're actually in a maze, you know? So like I think that's the challenge. Now, or you could just describe everything from their point of view. You know, there's a path that continues forward 10 feet and takes a turn to the left. And then at the other path, it goes right. Now, if you describe, now what you might do as a maze, if you really, really want the feeling of a maze, is you describe everything from the point of view of the players, what they see, exactly how they see it, and then it's up to them to do the mapping, right? Now, if you run it like that, I think you're going to come the closest as you possibly can to emulating a maze, right? You describe everything from their point of view, and they have to do the mapping, right? And obviously, as you're going through the maze, there should be interesting stuff that you find. Don't just run a pure maze. Oh gosh, that would be so lame. Like, if you're gonna run a maze, you're gonna piggyback other game elements into there, right? You're gonna put encounters in there. You're gonna put maybe puzzles and traps. You're gonna put social encounters in there. You're gonna have other cool stuff in the maze that the players will come upon, right? But I feel like probably running it from their perspective and describing things and making them do the map and never giving them a map, never giving them a top-down map. If you want to emulate the feeling of a maze, that's the way to do it. Now, that said, I don't know how much fun that would be. I feel like that's the sort of thing that you get to do once, right? You get to do that once in your D&D campaign. Your players experience that and they're like, oh, okay, we ran through a maze. Okay, that was rough. That took some time. That was confusing and I have a headache now. But we got through it, okay? But after that, I don't think they're going to want to do that again. You know what I mean? There's some things that you can just kind of do all day long, like kill orcs, you know, because orcs are evil and you want to kill them. But like, there are some things you probably don't want to do in every game session. And running through a maze from player perspective is probably one of them. That'd be my guess. The other thing, if you're going to run a maze, you really, 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 really have to think about is put yourself in the shoes of the person designing the maze in a fantasy world where magic and other things exist. If you design your maze and something as simple as the druid turning into a bird and flying up above the maze solves the maze, we have a problem. You need to anticipate all the different things that people in a fantasy world where magic exists might do to circumvent the challenge of a maze. And then as the creator of this maze, you need to put protocols in place that prevent the adventuring group, the party, from using cheap tricks to work around the maze and get the easy solution, right? So like design your maze from that point of view of a creator who has the wherewithal and the power and the resources to create a maze where so the players can't easily thwart it with some idea, you know? So, and then the walls of the maze, like if it's really easy to just, if it's like a hedgerow and they can just cut through it, they're gonna cut through it. So like you have to have some thinking in place that's going to like stop the most obvious ways of like breaking the game, so to speak, you know? So put some thought into that as well. I think that's definitely worth thinking about and planning for. How might they break the maze, and how might the creator of the maze have already thought about that and stop it from getting broken? You got to think about that. Otherwise, fantasy adventurers are just going to be like, I'm just going to use Firebolt and just blast a hole through the walls, and then we're out of here, baby, you know? Contextual response question. What are you looking to accomplish for the players and the game by running a maze? Oh, that's a good question. I think it probably, if you're actually going to run a maze like I just described, I think the idea would probably be to you do something different that they've never experienced before and give them a different sort of challenge. You know, that would be, in my opinion, that'd be part of the goal if I were doing it. Theater of the Mind reminds me of old school D&D before they had all these fancy maps. Yeah, I mean, I would run a maze Theater of the Mind like I described it for sure. There'd be no, I would not draw any maps, visuals. There'd be no miniatures on anything, grid, nothing. It would just be, yeah, it would totally be Theater of the Mind. If we had like an encounter that turned into a combat, then I'd probably draw like, you know, gridded minis because I like playing encounters, combats, gridded minis. It's fun. So my players found a dragon egg. The purpose was for them to sell it. You've fallen for the oldest trap in the book. You expected your players to do a thing. Now I want to take that egg away from them without TPKing them. Why? What are they gonna do with the egg, dude? Do you know how long it takes to incubate an egg? You need a large creature to sit on that egg to incubate it, or you need to pay somebody money to incubate that egg. Eggs, if eggs aren't properly incubated, my understanding is I'm not a chicken expert or an egg expert or whatever, but like if it's not properly incubated, the thing inside is gonna die. You know, and this is a dragon egg. Like, who knows what incubating a dragon egg means or entails? Like, can you just keep it warm? Or does it take a dragon butt, a magical dragon butt to sit on that sucker, you know? So like, they got to incubate the egg, and then what's the incubation period? A year? 3 years? Like, how long does a dragon egg, it's a big egg, you know? I think that the larger an egg is, the longer it takes to incubate. I don't know. So if you got an egg the size of like a small person, like a halfling or something, what's the incubation period of that? I don't know. You could research that or ask ChatGPT. It'd probably give you a reasonable answer. And so they got to incubate it in perhaps a complex method for a certain amount of time before it's born, and then it's a hatchling. Okay, what are they doing with it when it's a hatchling? Are they taking it adventuring with them? Well, it's gonna die very fast. It's a hatchling. Like, at low levels, a hatchling, okay, sure, it's great. But like, once you're like level 5 or above, a hatchling dragon in combat with you is gonna die very fast. Very fast. And dragons age so slowly. Like, to progress from a hatchling to like, even like a young dragon takes how many years? 25 years? I don't know. That is an eternity in a D&D game. Your players are never going to be around for 25 years in game for that. So like, I think this is a non-issue. This is one of those things, like, I think if you think it through, it's not a big deal. They want to have a dragon. Okay. You want to hatch the dragon egg. Okay, well, then this is what it's going to take. You want to pay the price or figure out how to do it? Okay, fine. You hatch a dragon egg. You have a baby hatchling dragon. What are you going to do with it? That's a good question, huh? Chances are that little dragon hatchling is going to be used for something interesting and cool in the game, but it's not going to be game breaking. I doubt it'll be game breaking. So my inclination would just be, I'm going to roll with this. I'm going to see where this goes. If somehow possibly something happens where they're having a baby dragon hatchling breaks the game, if that happens, I don't think it would, but if it does, then I'll just say, hey guys, we need to talk about this. This is actually not working out. Like, you incubated, you got the dragon hatchling, and now you're doing this thing with it, which is turning into a problem for the game for these reasons. Like, what can we do here? You know what I mean? And I would just talk to my players and we'd figure something out. But chances are it wouldn't be that big of a deal, you know? And gosh, man, imagine how much fun they're gonna have. Incubating and hatching a dragon. Like, imagine, just think about this, dude. Think about this. This is the type of D&D story, like, a decade from now, they're gonna tell their friends about. Oh, dude, there was this D&D game I was in that we incubated and hatched a dragon, and then da-da-da-da-da. Oh, it was the coolest thing in the world. Our dungeon master was the bomb. Oh, dude, that's the type of story that people are like drool about. Like, they love that crap, man. So the question is like, why cut that crap down? Like, why like chop them out at the knees? Let them have a cool thing, you know? Chances are it's not going to do anything negative to the game. It's only going to result in like a cool story and lots of excitement and stuff. You know what I mean? And imagine the complications and plot hooks. Okay? Imagine what happens when like the local wizard finds out that they have a baby hatchling dragon. The wizard's like, I know how to age dragons faster. I could ride a dragon. I want that dragon. Or imagine the Thieves Guild, who's like, a dragon egg is worth lots of money. Let's steal this. Like, I'm not suggesting that you should try to take it away from your players. What I'm suggesting is that you can use that dragon egg as the impetus for adventures, right? The crime syndicate is trying to get the egg away from the players. The local barristers guild might be suing them for illegally possessing an exotic animal. Okay, like, and you could just introduce hooks and complications and different things. Like, that could be tons of fun and super interesting. I wouldn't kill them. I wouldn't just steal it from them because that'll feel cheap. Right? Use it to introduce adventures and stuff. Oh, that could be really cool, dude. Like, your players getting a dragon egg could change your campaign and your players could love it. It could be really cool. Like, the whole campaign might just turn into, okay, our goal now is to incubate and have this dragon, right? And we have to protect it from all these other people. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, that's probably not where you wanted your campaign to go, but your players might love that crap. I'm just throwing that out there, dude. So I would not be quick to like shoot that idea down, because that sounds like it could be pretty cool, depending on where your players take it, right? You could like massage and like, you know, incubate that idea a little bit and like toy with it and turn it into something really cool that your players would love. This is like, you know, you make a lot of NPCs in your game, and most of the NPCs your players are like, I hate him, let's kill him, let's steal his money and kill him. Or let's kill him first, torture him second, and then take his money. But then occasionally there's an NPC they love. You latch onto those NPCs and you're like, baby them, this is my sweet baby NPC. My players actually like this NPC, and you squeeze that NPC for everything you can in your game. Well, your dragon egg thing could be one of those ideas where your players like it, and then you can use it to go places, you know, and make the game really cool. Give the players what they want and make them regret it. Well, maybe a little bit regret it, but mostly introduce complications, right? It's the classic yes, but. Yes, you can have the dragon egg, but it's not going to be as easy as you think it's going to be. I do think dragons would be hard to train, potentially. But dragons are also very intelligent. Even dumb dragons, like a white dragon, I believe is the dumbest dragon of all. Even a white dragon has human intelligence. Now it's like at the low end of human intelligence, but it still has human intelligence, right? But most dragons are smarter. Most dragons are smarter than people. So at some point you realize that we are not just dealing with like an animal. We are dealing with a, what do you call it? When something is self-aware, sapient. We are, I think it's called sapient when it's self-aware. We are a sapient creature that is more intelligent than we are. Like this is not a matter of training. This is a relationship. You know what I mean? And eventually this thing is going to be powerful enough to like eat us and burn us, or if not us, our descendants and our children's children's children. So like we should probably get on good terms with this dragon when he's young, so that as he grows, we're kind of cool, So yeah, it's not, yeah, you have to, I think there's that part of things to consider as well. Sentient, there we go. What does sapient mean? Is that a word? Did I just make that word up? Well, sapient's a word too. I'm pretty sure that's a word. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, we have a giveaway going on. Join the giveaway. There's a link down in the chat somewhere where you can join the giveaway, sign up for it. We're giving away $50 DM Lair store credit. We will announce the winner in about 10 minutes. So this is probably your last chance to sign up for the giveaway if you want to get in on the action. And then also check out these awesome candles. These candles are made by Firelight Fables Candles. These are premium scented fantasy themed candles. This one is Shipwreck Isle. Premium coconut apricot wax, wooden wicks. These things are awesome. They are not cheap pieces of crap. So if you go over here, use the discount code, the DM Lair, you're gonna get 10% off. But these are not like the nasty little soy wax candles that you get at Walmart. These are the good ones. But they are worth it. They are amazing. I have these things going all the time. They smell very, very nice. Sometimes I'll just not even burn it. I'll just sniff it. Let's pretend I didn't say that. I don't sniff candles. I don't think there's anything wrong with sniffing candles. I think there's probably worse things in the world you can sniff than candles. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Dragons tend to have big egos. Yeah. On my campaign last night, my friend got a bit lazy towards the end and managed to bring in a wrecking ball and take away 5 hours of gameplay. Like, what happened? What did he do? Google AI says sentient refers to the capacity to feel, experience, and perceive. So that's like self-aware. While sapient refers to the capacity for advanced cognitive abilities, including intelligence, wisdom, and reason. That's really interesting. What's the distinction, though? Can you be one without the other? Can you be sentient without being sapient? Or vice versa? It almost feels like if you're sentient, you're also going to be sapient. And if you're sapient, you're also going to be sentient. It sure seems like it. Huh. You can be sentient without being sapient, but you cannot be sapient without being sentient. I don't know. Like the only... Well, it depends on how do you... Oh, hold on a second. But would we consider that humans are the only sentient creatures that live on Earth, though? Because like capacity to feel, experience, and perceive, that's like self-aware. But it's something like a dog self-aware, right? Is it self-aware? I don't know. I almost feel like humans are the only sentient beings. dogs sentient? Are they? I don't. The problem with this argument, the problem with this discussion, is that we're speculating. Are dogs sentient? Are they self-aware? Are our dogs self-aware? The only way to know if a dog is self-aware is to ask the dog and talk to the dog, right? And we can't communicate with dogs. So as far as we know, that they might not be self-aware and they behave purely on instinct, you know? I don't know. Yeah. All right. That's like a rabbit hole of a discussion. It's just going to be personal opinions because you can't prove any of it, I don't think. It's not a binary? I don't know. I think we're in a theoretical discussion. Like the only creatures that we are aware of that are self-aware are humans, because we can communicate with ourselves and we know we're self-aware. You know I'm self-aware. I'm not just reacting to stimuli. So, but all other living beings, like we can't communicate with them. So like, we don't know if they're sentient or not. We don't know if they're self-aware. And to say it's not binary, it's a spectrum, well, we can't prove that. I think we're still speculating. I think we're still at a level of speculation. But I'm not super familiar with the topic. I'm just kind of like using my brain. All right. I did want to mention one other thing that I thought was interesting. We have like, why is my computer's not working now? Oh, I'm frozen. Oh, this is bad. Google Chrome has frozen on me. My stream is running through Google Chrome and it is now frozen on me, and I can't go to any of my tabs. That's a problem. This is like, oh no, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh no. Oh. Ah! I gotta restart Google Chrome. It's totally froze on me. Whoops, that's not the right one. You're about to experience some technical difficulties because Chrome has frozen. Wow, and it's eating all my memory up too. What is Chrome doing? Holy crap. You are about to experience some technical difficulties. Okay, I think we're back now. I had to restart Chrome. I think it's working though. I think it's working. And then I need to go over to this right here. Excellent. I'm using OBS to run the stream, but I connect the OBS sends the information for the stream to YouTube streaming, but I view like the live streaming through a Chrome window, so I don't know how all that works. Did you guys, so when I restarted Chrome, did you guys experience any, like, did I disappear at all, or was it buffering, or was everything just smooth? I guess we'll figure out if I had to have Chrome up or not. I never left. Oh, okay. Well then, so that's interesting. So OBS connected just fine and maintained the connection to the the YouTube servers just fine. And then even though Chrome was shut down for a brief moment, it didn't matter. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, what was I gonna do? Oh, I just wanted to show. Wizards of the Coast they made an announcement about they're about to release the SRD. Now, there's nothing we can really say at this point because they haven't really said anything, but they're going to be releasing this on April 22nd. I am super interested in this is next Tuesday. So here's what's going to happen. I'm just telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to have a deluge of videos on YouTube, everyone is going to be talking about the new SRD. Okay, so the SRD releases on Tuesday next week. 100% guarantee you that there's going to be some YouTubers who are scrambling to get out a video next Tuesday as fast as they can talking about the new SRD. I 100% guarantee you there are going to be people doing that, because this is what you do when you're in the rat race, you know, just like, I gotta do the video, I gotta get it out as fast as I can. So I'm probably gonna, like, we'll probably talk about this next Thursday on my live stream. We'll probably pull this, if they actually release it on schedule like they say, which I have no reason to believe they wouldn't, but we'll probably pull this up April 22nd next week. Now it actually says, oh, this is actually really good. So with the release of the new core rulebooks, we are announcing the upcoming publication of System Reference Document 5.2, also known as SRD 5.2. This document will provide materials that creators can use to publish content compatible with 2024 rule set. The SRD 5.2 will release under Creative Commons license on April 22nd. That sounds very good. This, of course, is what they promised us they would do. And I'm very happy to hear that they're going to live up to their promise. It will coexist with SRD 5.1. You can learn more below. Yeah, I don't know what's going to change. What's changing? Oh, ooh, this sounds really good. Look at this. Hey, this is really good. I am interested in this. Where did I go? I'm trying to make it bigger. So you can, oh, this stupid poopiness. What's changing? Well, it says here, Wizards of the Coast will later publish a conversion guide that will help creators update their content to the new rule set. More details will be released for this. You know, I have to say, we were told for a year and a half, 2 years, that everything would be backwards compatible. If everything's backwards compatible, why do we need a conversion guide? Eh? Are you guys following my train of thought here? This is why they get themselves in trouble, because they lie to us and then they're like, oh, but we're gonna give you a conversion guide because it's not actually backwards compatible like we said it was gonna be. Oh man. I mean, I'm happy they're gonna give us a conversion guide. Nobody really believed that it was gonna be perfectly backwards compatible to begin with, you know, but now they're literally just telling us that. They're telling us they lied to us, which, I mean, nobody really believed them 100%. Oh man, these guys. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, you can buy Into the Fae whenever you want, dude. Nothing is gonna change Into the Fae in the foreseeable future. So go grab that sucker, man. Okay, anyway, the SRD will be coming out next week. We're probably gonna talk about it a little bit on the live stream. If we're lucky, there's really nothing to say about it, because they literally just gave us a nice SRD that we can use to publish content, and we're all very happy about it. If people are actually making tons of videos about the SRD coming out, then it's probably because there's something weird in there that deserves talking about, that people are upset about. So we'll just see how that goes. But if they give us what I'm hoping they give us, there will be really nothing to say about it. Now there might be some people that can still put together a 10-minute video where they say a whole lot of nothing, because there are some D&D people, or I should say YouTuber people, that are really good at making videos that don't say a whole lot and take up a lot of time. That's a skill you learn, by the way. It takes years of practice to learn that skill. So you can take a topic that has about 30 seconds of actual beef and you can turn it into a 10-minute video. That takes skill, my friends. Skill, I say. Anyway, I should probably just shut up. Draw the giver the win away. Winning with the giveaway winner. Giveaway winner. Let's draw the giveaway winner. Or, you know, or you can take like a 5-minute video and turn it into 30 minutes. Ooh, watch time, baby. Watch time. I should shut up. People are gonna be upset at me. Let's draw the winner to the giveaway and get the heck out of here. Where am I going? Where am I going? Not that I've ever done either of those things, mind you. Here we go. Drawing a winner. Drawing a winner. Okay, Trey from New Hampshire. New Hampshire? Hampshire? New Hampshire. I think I'm saying it wrong. New Hampshire. Trey from New Hampshire, you have won the giveaway, good sir. I will be sending you an email. We will get you hooked up with $50 DM Lair store credit. All right, that's all I got for you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you next week, right here on my channel, same time, same place. Have a wonderful week. Happy gaming. Have some fun playing your games. Kill at least one player, you know, just at least one, you know, spice things up a little bit. And then, you know, have an alibi because you're not supposed to kill players. All right, now I'm done. I'm going to shut this sucker down.